Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, your wormhole from TradFi to DeFi.
So please note that whatever we say today should not be taken as financial advice. If you want to seek a financial advice, please seek out a licensed financial professional. And we also have a free ebook for you to download. You can get the link to it in the description below. So the first topic of the day we're going to talk about is the Superbowl slash Cryptobowl that just happened. And I personally haven't watched the highlights of the game yet, but I've gone through most of the ads that has been aired in the Super Bowl 56. So why is this relevant to what we're going to talk about today in this crypto channel is because in Super Bowl 56 this year, right, it's heavily touted as the Crypto Bowl because this is also the year where a lot of these crypto companies now have major financing, enough for them to actually purchase expensive ad times in Super Bowl. So for context, right, a 30-second spot in the Super Bowl commercials, right, cost about $7 million. So one of the main few ads that were shared was, I'm sure everyone has seen this. Have you seen the FTX?
Oh yeah, that's
ad?
that's only one of two that I've seen. But yeah, obviously it's very creative. They got Larry, what's his name?
Larry
David,
He's
right?
from Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think for those who actually watched Seinfeld, he was the co-creator along with Jerry Seinfeld as well. But after that, he went on to produce 11 seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm. So one interesting ad that I want to share was, maybe you can include in the video here, our editor can do it, right? Was Coinbase literally bought 60 seconds of ad time. And in that ad, imagine on your TV, right? There's literally a QR code hovering around for 60 seconds. So that probably cost them about 14 million. But what's interesting with this QR code is that when you scan it with your phone, which is what most people are doing these days with MySejahtera and maybe the US equivalent, I'm not sure, it links you to download the Coinbase app. And instantly, right, the next day, Coinbase in the App Store showed up to number 2 on the most downloaded app in the App Store. And this also caused the website to actually crash. So that goes to show how powerful it is the Super Bowl, a Super Bowl ad slot can be. Yeah. So one last thing I want to share is that a lot of companies actually rush to get an ad space in Super Bowl is because according to statistics by Kantar, last year, right, the Super Bowl 55 generated 434 million in-game ad revenue with an average price of around 6.5 million per 30 seconds. So inflation is about 7 million this year. Now, for every dollar spent on this primetime slot, the average return was $4.60. So it's an instant 4.6x return. So that explains why a lot of these companies and even Coinbase, FTX want to really get a slot in the Super Bowl ad. So MJ, I want to know what your thoughts are on some of these ads.
Like I said, I only saw a few. Like the one where it was about LeBron James, and then there was that interesting, the QR code was there, and then the seed phrases were there as well. I thought that was really creative. Like it introduced the idea that it basically tell people like how convenient or like how it's actually done in crypto, right? But in a very easy to, like in a very different way, right? It's not how we would expect, but it works, right? Obviously, I think the more controversial one, actually not really controversial, but I guess to me at least, one that might not be as, I mean, it's good marketing for sure, but I don't know whether it's the right message, is the FTX one.
I call it the wheel.
I don't think so. What does it do?
The rules.
Yeah, so does a bagel, okay? A bagel you can eat. One of the worst ideas I've ever heard.
Like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff. Never. Franklin!
I think that that was great, but the ending message of like don't miss out and all that was again great marketing, right? But that's probably not how I think as an investor we
Correct.
should,
Yeah.
tell people. But I understand it's just an ad. There's only 60 seconds to make an impact or what.
So that's what I think as well, right? To add on to your point, there's another company, man, I can't get it at the top of my head. I'll link it in the description below that featured another NBA player, not so popular one, Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry,
he
yeah.
was in the Raptors and now I think he's in the Heat. Yeah. But anyway, they realized that for someone who, for them to acquire new customers, right, they cannot keep retelling the same marketing message where it only caters to people who are just going to sign up for their DeFi natives essentially, or crypto natives like you and I. They need
Yeah.
to figure out how to engage, everyday people on the streets who right now are very skeptical when it comes to crypto. So they are taking a more focused path on education and teaching people how blockchain actually works, what Bitcoin actually is. The more boring stuff, but I think that could have a larger payoff in the long run because you don't just spew the same message and create FOMO again in the same crowd, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think negative or rather viral stuff are very often not the most useful, right? Like we know, like negative news, for example, always sells better than positive news.
Sure. Yeah.
Right, that's why people have a negative bias. So I think that's the only issue I have with that ad. Otherwise, it's a very creative ad, and
Yeah.
kudos to the team.
But you look at one thing I do want to add, right? You look at the ad spaces that were bought by these companies. It is Coinbase, it is FTX, it is Binance didn't do it, but a lot of these big centralized exchanges, which their main modus operandi is to get people to sign up with them, start trading with them, and they earn trading fees, and that's what generates billions for them, right? I think for crypto to ultimately go to the next level, there needs to be tech improvements. There needs to be, there needs to be improvements, or there needs to be bigger use case than just people trading in and out through crypto centralized exchanges. But the sad thing would be right now it's only these major behemoths of the industry that can afford this kind of ad space in crypto.
Yep.
In the Superbowl. I suppose one last thing I want to add, I think maybe this is pertinent to what I just said, like adoption of the tech. Rapper Drake made about 2.2 million in Bitcoin in the bets that he made. That's because he bet on the Rams winning, and he also bet on Odell Beckham Jr. scoring a touchdown.
Right.
As easy as it is to make that more money, I think before this it was really unsure because Odell Beckham has never been the most healthy player on the field. In fact, after he won the Super Bowl, he actually tore his ACL as well. So it's going to have a long road to injury after this. But why I bring this up is because Drake was able to bet in Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a currency or an exchange or a platform or a chain that does not sleep.
Yep.
And there are actually services out there that offer trades and bets in Bitcoin, right? Compared to some of these traditional betting pages where, there's so many regulations and it's endemic to maybe the US or China or Hong Kong or just certain countries. Bitcoin is worldwide. You can just press a click of a button.
Oh, yeah.
You can bet anything that you want. You can even bet like if any player wants to propose or not after the game. In fact, that was an option that was allowed in the betting site that Drake was on as well. So, maybe crypto mainstream adoption comes through the form of betting. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, given what crypto wants to do, the mainstream adoption will come from everywhere, pretty much. So yeah, betting, gambling, all that's definitely up there. Before we move on, guys, did you know we have a Telegram group? This group is popping, man. Like, it's so hard to keep up. And there's so much chatter about the latest news. Some of them legit, some of them are not so legit. But at least we share with you our thoughts on whether something's legit or not. And some of the new developments in some of the chains, some of the even investments that we are looking at. So if you want to check out, a little bit more degenerate stuff, make sure to join the group. You can find it in the link or the comments.
So the next news you want to explore is Warren Buffett buying into quote-unquote Bitcoin-friendly bank, new bank. And MJ, what do you think about this?
Yeah, the first thing is that the stake is about $1 billion, right? So they put $1 billion of capital. Now, it sounds like to people who have not followed Buffett, that sounds like a lot of money, but it really isn't. Buffett controls about 400 plus billion in capital, and I think one of the more nefarious headlines that I think the crypto, not say nefarious, but more like clickbaity headlines was that Buffett dumps Visa and MasterCard for Nubank.
Yeah. So they compare it in dumping a TradFi bank for a more crypto progressive bank, right?
That's not that's very explosive
Misleading.
journalism, but when someone sells something
Yeah.
and buys something else, it doesn't mean that he dumps that and replace it. I mean, yes, he does, but the connection is not necessarily there. He could sell Visa for any other reasons and allocate it to something else that, is not reported in the 13F filings, because 13F filings only reports the public holdings of Berkshire Hathaway above a certain amount. He could use that money to buy some other private acquisition or not. So to say that, the reason they sell Visa and MasterCard for Nubank is, I think, not very accurate. But I think the broader point here is that now a lot of crypto people are thinking that Buffett is starting to get excited about crypto because of buying a Bitcoin-friendly bank.
What's that even mean, right? Bitcoin friendly?
I don't know. Maybe I don't even know. Like maybe the Brazilian the CEOs once said, "Yeah, we like Bitcoin," something like that. I don't know. I've not researched that far.
For people to blow it out of proportions.
Exactly. So I think that you need to look beyond that, and remember, 1 billion out of 400 billion is a very small amount, right?
It's 0.25%.
Secondly, the chances are it's not actually Buffett who bought it. Those who understand how Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's company, work, is that he has two very important generals. Actually, there's 3 to 4 generals, so to speak, that manages investments in various departments, but there are 2 that manages the equity portion quite heavily. One is Ted Weschler and the other one is Todd Combs. So, like for example, recently as well, Warren Buffett bought Activision in December.
Oh, this was before the Blizzard acquisition.
It was reported that he bought in December, but whether he bought it in December is another. So people are saying he bought it because of the acquisition, maybe not. But then does that mean that now Buffett's into gaming and all that?
Metaverse, gaming, Web3,
No, that's most probably Todd Combs or Ted Weschler. So it was the same thing with Snowflake a couple of years ago when they bought into the Snowflake IPO. Warren Buffett has never bought a tech company at such a high valuation and never an IPO, yet they bought. So it's Todd Combs and Ted Weschler, and most probably. And I think Nubank is the same.
But it goes to show that, hey, I think for investors to be successful, and I know Warren Buffett is definitely the quotes of when it comes to value investing, you have to, I suppose, be thick-faced enough to change your mind, right? And even whatever his motives with buying Nubank may be, I feel like I respect Warren Buffett if he ultimately decides to buy into any crypto-friendly or even crypto, for example, right? That takes a lot of guts. That takes a lot of that's not easy to do as a long-term value investor like him, who's made it so public that Bitcoin is rat poison,
Well, probably rat poison squared.
Yeah, like I think I mentioned in our main channel, right? Yeah. Actually, the problem with Bitcoin is that it's trying to replace money, and therefore it's essentially digital gold. So they've branded themselves as such. And that gives good branding to some people, and that gives terrible branding to people like Warren Buffett, because gold is an unproductive asset. And let's be honest, Bitcoin is pretty unproductive. Yeah, you can say it's gone up 1,000,000% since 2000 or whatever, right? But Warren Buffett is like, no, you need to buy something that actually produces value, which I agree. Which is why, I don't own Bitcoin, right? Warren Buffett won't buy something because it's crypto-friendly, and he won't avoid something also because it's crypto-friendly, right? Like, for example, he held Visa and all these credit card companies. Yeah. He also bought he bought Apple, bought all these companies that were friendly to crypto, but I didn't sell them because of that. I mean, Apple is his biggest, at least he's the biggest public security that he owns. So he's not going to buy something because it's crypto-friendly. He's not going to avoid something because it's crypto-friendly as well. The more likely, the more plausible reason why he got into Nubank or his lieutenants got into Nubank is because Nubank probably has a special position in Brazilian banking. That's it.
Yeah.
And it so happens that they're friendly to crypto. Okay, fine, you're friendly to to crypto.
Well put, well put. Yeah, I think it's too easy for us to, just extrapolate one small aspect of this acquisition and say, hey,
Yeah.
he has changed his mind on Bitcoin.
And I think a larger point is this. A lot of the crypto people jumping on this and saying now Warren Buffett's interested in crypto and all that. To me, the speed at which you jump at this conclusion just implies that, or as to how, what's that bias again? Like how fast or how willing you are to seek out evidence that supports your prior conclusion. That's very dangerous, right? So,
perpetuates it perpetuates the fact that Twitter, with all the choices of who you follow and algorithm doing its work, it becomes a very dangerous echo chamber. And I think it's important, as we're chatting to you, to understand contradicting opinions of what the general consensus of the crypto sphere actually thinks.
Yeah, like that's why I'm in a very weird, like my views are very weird in investing, in the sense that on one hand, like I agree so much with Warren Buffett when it comes to Bitcoin. Then you might think I sound like an anti-crypto guy, but I'm like, no, there's like so much more about crypto outside Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin dominates, most of the discussion most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's important to treat everything on a case-by-case basis, to actually take, I think, people who you disagree with seriously. I think it's very tempting to like ridicule someone with an opposite view, right? Like if someone, questions Luna, right? I think this was something that happened with the recent Anchor Protocol issue with the U reserve.
Yeah, and crypto Twitter was quick to become very toxic and just fight back without any evidence or strong points.
I agree with, like, I'm on Team Anchor in the sense that it's not really an issue in the short term right now. Long term, if, like, for example, recently the U reserve were replenished by Do Kwon.
Yeah.
And it was needed because we're in somewhat of a bear market. So we knew that was going to happen, that option was on the table. And therefore, whatever was happening to U reserve is not really an issue. But where I think, for me, on the people on the Anchor camp or the Terra camp, was essentially the reaction, right? When people were questioning about the U reserve and saying, hey, you have this issue, the response was, imagine, saying things like, or imagine being this stupid, right? Or like, oh, this guy's damn dumb. Like, it's not, it's Twitter talk, right?
That's the problem when you're only limited to 280 characters, right? Just limit yourself.
Yeah, but even with 280 characters, you manage to make yourself look like a fool by saying that, right? So I think that's very important for all of us to know, like to catch, right? Some of the subtle things like, hey,
correct.
See, Buffett is into crypto. I'm like, you're chill, man.
Don't just rack in, all this evidence that supports your own belief. I think you got to challenge yourself and come to a conclusion that's logical rather than emotional as well.
All right, guys. Glad you stayed all the way until the end of the video. And if you did stay all the way until the end, it means that you like this sort of content. And if you do like this sort of content, make sure you share it with your friends, right? Or you share something good. So yes, see you in the next video.